I don't know. Is it relevant? Once again, that's the question. Uh-oh. We got Jim. Okay, let me put the headset on. Hopefully the headsets work. Jim.
How you doing?
All right. This is good because it's proving to me that this will work. Dude, it's midnight. Where are you at?
I'm in Colorado.
Okay, so it's not midnight yet.
No, not quite. I was just doing research on a lake that we're going to this weekend.
I got you. Now, I have a recruit, 2024. He's already signed. Incredible player from Greeley, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how far that is from you. And then I have one of the top players in the class at 2025 who's from Colorado Springs, has already made a campus visit and has said that we are at the top of his list. So Colorado being very, very good to me on the bowling side.
Very cool. Yeah, there's a lot of good bowling lanes here. My son bowls. He's in a league.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Is he in school?
No, he's already graduated from high school. He's 25, and this is his first year in a bowling league, and he likes it. You know, he's getting much better.
Nice. So you're doing research. Is this a typical thing for you with an event coming up?
Yeah, so this is for Colorado. It's the Pikes Peak Bassmasters, and we go to,
Nice.
yeah, John Martin Reservoir this weekend.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, somebody reminded me it's only 10:12 on the West Coast. So
It's 11:12 my time.
yeah, you're on Mountain Time.
Yeah, Mountain Time.
Mountain Time. So was it easy to just copy that link, click that link in and get after it?
Yeah, I was on my Samsung phone first,
Okay.
and then when you mentioned the Safari, I had to get on my tablet.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason with iPhones, like your Samsung phone, I don't know what the default browser is on that because I don't have an Android phone.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no idea. Oh, look, we got somebody else here. Let's bring somebody else in. Okay, Bob. Bob, what's happening?
What's happening? How are you tonight?
Where are you, Bob?
I'm in Texas.
Texas, home of the lake that everybody is talking about. See, me even being removed from it. I get a phone call from a guy that I used to fish team tournaments with 10 years ago. He's like, hey, I know you're retired now, or you're doing the bowling thing. You got to go with me to this brand new lake that they just opened up. I don't even know what it's called. It's by Lake Fork, though, right? What's it called?
Boy Dark?
Boys the Ark?
Boys Dark. Yeah, I don't know how to say it. It's yes.
Okay, have you been there yet?
I have not. I am kind of the opposite side. I'm south of Fort Worth in Burleson.
Okay.
But no, I have not been up there. I've seen some videos, some YouTube shows on it. Looks like you can do a lot of flipping and pitching in some bushes up there. So
yeah,
it looks like a lot of fun.
So right now it's take a number though. From what I understand, it's like you can make a pitch or a flip to the guy right next to you.
Yeah, just don't land in his boat.
Okay, hang on. Somebody, Bodark? Hang it. This is a great name here. Maximus Klein.
Pronounced Bodark.
Bodark. Okay.
There you go.
All right. So I guess every single person except you in Texas has been there.
That's right,
Bob.
I fish the pond in my neighborhood. That's where I'm fishing now.
That's okay.
I've got an 8-9-year-old son and daughter, and so we do some brew fishing with some worms.
Okay, so do you do voiceovers for infomercials? Because you got that kind of voice, man.
I do not, but I should get into it.
You got that voice. All right. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Jim. What are you doing up so late at midnight watching me? I'm irrelevant.
I was actually watching the Zaldane podcast
Yeah.
with Jacob Faust, and then it popped up that you were going live. So
Yeah, but you thought it was Matt, though, didn't you not?
no, because I think the title came up and it said it was you. And so I
Oh,
was
that's
like,
right. I put in there, hey, Mark's
I was
making
like, yep,
a test.
I'm jumping
or
on
something
here.
like
Yeah.
that. All right,
So now I've been on for over an hour and a half, or whatever
Thanks,
it is.
man. Thanks,
no,
man.
super excited. Yeah, this is great.
All right, cool. All right, I'm going to ask both of you one question, and then you can ask me anything you want. All right, Jim first. If there was one thing that you would change about professional bass fishing, what would it be?
Good question.
Now I'm going to ask you a different question.
I
Bob.
think I would change the payout as far as everybody getting paid. I think everybody should get a paycheck of some sort.
Yeah, that's what they're doing in bowling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I talked about that earlier. But that would be nice. It's unheard of. Can you imagine? It was funny when I was moving. I found some old stuff from my mom and dad. I found a pay stub from my dad. All right, it was 1970. So what is that? Quick math. 54 years ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
1970. He was making $12 an hour. Which I had to think a minute. I was like, okay, 1970, $12 an hour.
That's really good.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. And he brought home $319.64. And I looked at that and I thought, man, what do people do now if their take home is only $300 and whatever $64? They can't survive.
Mm-mm.
Can't survive. But it was a pretty good little chunk of change there for a minute. You know what else I found? Oh, let me get it here. This right here. This is I'm actually going to get this framed. Okay. And it was in a bunch of stuff that my mom had. And it's dated. I got to make sure I got the right one. Yeah, it's dated May 20th, 1972. So 52 years ago. This is my first league sheet I ever had as a bowler. And my average was 156.
Well, when I go bowling, my goal is to get 100. So if you're above that, that's pretty good.
But get this, there were 24 people in this league, and I was high average at 156.
Yeah.
So that is getting framed. That is epic. I could not believe I came across that.
Should already be at least laminated.
Yeah, I gotta get that one framed. All right, here's your question, Bob.
Yes.
If there was one lure besides the A-rig that needs to be banned in professional fishing, what would you ban?
Ooh, that's a really good one. So
That's like why Panger, I did this for a long time.
Like Panger, I am a drop shot guy. And so Louisiana, just moved over here 2 years ago, and that was so finesse, I'm all for. Man, if we had to ban something, I would actually like to bring the A-rig back and allow it.
Oh, he's gonna deban.
I'm gonna deban it if we're gonna make
I like that. I like that.
I would like to see. I mean, yes, it did really well out the jump, but I like in some of these other like Texas Team Trail, I think it's allowed, and I don't know that it's dominating. I don't know that people are just wrecking shop with it, but you know, I feel like that. But man, is there something that just gives everyone an unfair advantage, a lure out there?
No. Make look at this. Here, I gotta put this up. Let me flash this up here. Make the A-rig great again.
You need to make a T-shirt. Yes. T-shirt needs to be sold with that on it.
That is impressive right there. If anything comes from this show tonight, that's one thing right there. that needs to happen. So if anybody's got
sure.
I would love to get a T-shirt. That's hilarious. Okay, so I like that. Here, let me just address this one real quick. More on the water fights and more on the water drama for clicks. This ain't a gentleman's sport anymore, clearly. Well, let me just say this, all right? There were fights on the water back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. That's something that's never gone away. What wasn't present when all that was taking place was the sensationalism and the driven dollar based upon creating an income stream based upon drama. Because now you could get paid for creating drama. That kind of touches on what I talked about earlier, where the true journalistic approach to this game is being lost because of the sensationalism of something that truly doesn't make the fan a better angler. How does that drama make either one of you a better angler?
It doesn't. I think, not scientifically speaking, but in my opinion, like social media has, I have small children, 8 and 9 years old, like I said.
Yeah.
I'm not letting them get on social media for as long as I can hold them off of it, because maybe some online bullying or whatever, but I think the same thing is happening to the adults now, that we can't stay away from that sensationalism of this fight or this negative thought or this, whatever it is. You get sucked into that, and then everyone just starts getting in a bad mood. And I mean, all the podcasts right now is like everyone on the Elite Series is just upset and hating life or whatever. And you shouldn't be. Like, you are you're fishing. Let's and I think, I do think some of that is driven by, having a social media and instant access to that stuff as soon as it happens in live time.
I'm telling you, part of the reason why it's done is because sensationalism sells.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because the true perspective of what the fan that loves this game really wants to learn is more from an experience standpoint and an educational standpoint. But what happens is sensationalism sells. And there are people out there that are profiting, and it's not just fishing, it's everything. They're profiting from positioning sensationalism. And, I think it's kind of a travesty that our game that I truly, truly love and love for a zillion years has gotten to the point from a journalistic perspective that it is drama and upsetness and bickering and fighting and being unhappy. You know what? There's a word out there, and the word is choice. And if you don't like it,
that's right,
you have a choice. Go do something else. But if the rules have been established and you don't agree with the rules, well, you got one of two things you can do. Okay? You can try to improve the rules by going in a very respectful, positive aspect to change it, especially if you really have a strong commitment that it's wrong. Then do something to try and change it, or go do something else.
That's right.
You got a choice.
As a consumer, we're consuming that more and more. So are we driving it to
100%?
Although I don't think I'm buying more lures and stuff because of those videos.
No, but you're clicking on more of them.
That's right. And those clicks turn into dollars.
Are you benefiting from those clicks? No, you're just like, ooh, he said what? Ooh, he did what?
That's right.
Ooh, they fined him how much?
Right.
But it's not just fishing. It's that way in everything.
Society,
what happens?
Sure.
What happens when there's a brawl in the NBA? It doesn't matter if you're an NBA fan or not. What do you want to see? Well, everybody's talking about it, so you want to see what happened.
Yeah.
Well, It's the same thing in this. When
That's
something happens in the industry that is controversial, that is, something that is out of the norm, well, the fans want to see it. But at the same time, there needs to be an aspect of this sport that needs to be a journalistic approach rather than a sensationalistic approach. I mean, you guys tell me, what do you want? Do you want to look at all the dirt, or do you want to look at it?
I want to learn. I'm new to fishing, only 15 years. I'm almost 44 years old here in another month. And I only known that professional fishing has been a thing for 15 years. I found BTL in COVID on YouTube. I didn't really know YouTube was like a fishing mecca, right? And I came across it we were in lockdown and just got on there and it popped up, and I've been hooked since. But I watch Bass Live. I want to learn like why they're fishing, where they're fishing, what lure, like you said, we don't hear about that anymore because they're all throwing the minnow. And I'm like, why are you throwing it there? What I would like to know those things, like what made you choose this is where you were going to fish today, and stuff like that. So
but it seems like, at least for what I perused the last couple of days, that people aren't interested in that.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Jim, am I right?
Yeah, I think so. I think the networks maybe, or the, who's ever broadcasting one of the shows, I think they, should focus more on the learning part instead of just, showing a lot more of the, what happened, the drama on the water. A lot of people want to see that, but a lot more people, I think, want to learn what they're doing, but it's a little more difficult to show that if they're looking at a screen all the time.
Yeah, you're right. What's in the last month, what's the most positive thing that's come out of professional fishing?
I have no idea.
No,
quite honestly, from what I looked at over the last couple of days that I looked at, I didn't see anything.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and I'm drawing.
It's a great point.
There's got to be something out there, but you're right. All you see is the fights and the arguments of this and that.
Yeah, now they're supposed to have a private meeting with all the elite anglers. How is that going to go? Are they going to let the media in? Is it going to be private?
Don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know. I can go way back. I think it was 2003. Could be wrong, but I think the year that Iaconelli was Angler of the Year, I think was 2003. There was a meeting at Table Rock Lake, and that is kind of the first group meeting that happened with the PAA, the Professional Anglers Association. And they were actually, I felt like, because I actually sat in on that meeting, they were actually going in the right direction to have that relationship between the anglers and, at that time, the single organization. And there was always some type of representation until the ESPN days. But in the prior days, there were people that I wouldn't say influenced, but they at least carried the voice for the anglers to the organization. When the PAA solely just kind of evolved and crumbled, and then obviously, I mean, the obvious situation was when you had the break between Bass and MLF was formed and all that. I mean, anything and everything kind of went out the window. But any business that I have seen, any organization, any athletic team, the communication that takes place between the entity that is part of it and the entity that oversees it, you have to have that present. All right. Now, the entity that takes part in it may not get their way 0% of the time, but at least they are communicating and they understand the viewpoint of the organization. I think where and it doesn't matter what sport it is, when organizations and teams and businesses get in trouble is when the communication doesn't exist. Because you have the fear of the unknown. You just don't know. And then you throw in speculation, and then you got people saying this and people saying this, and they have no basis on what they're saying, but they're very influential because of all the following that they have. The greatest thing that could happen in this sport is if you truly had the anglers and the organization sit down, truly sit down, no tournament taking place, nothing, and get things lined out to where it is the best thing for the four elements that are involved in this game: the anglers, the organizations, the fans, and the sponsors. Because ultimately, this game doesn't exist at a professional level if it's not for those four people.
Yeah, 100%.
So why hasn't that summit ever taken place? It's never happened. Now, I know for a fact that there have been meetings with one individual or two individuals during or prior to an event. That's not what I'm talking about. Guys, when the season's not taking place, you guys need to get thrown in a conference room. You need to take a week out of your hunting or your other busy life and get this thing dialed in to where all four entities are dialed in on the same page.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't done this sooner, because this is their job. And in order to run a good ship, everybody has to communicate somehow, talk together, group together, vote on it, and then once it gets voted on, stick to it for the whole season. If they want to change something, then they should change it in the off season and then come up with that rule in the off season and obey by that. So it is good that they're going to get together and they got to talk. Even if they argue, they're talking, but not talking is not good.
The unknown.
But it's probably that way across most businesses. Like, you have the upper echelon, the owners, the CEOs of companies aren't really working and talking a lot with the ground level folks to bridge that gap. I'm up here, I know exactly what needs to go on. They're down here, they don't know what's going on, but they're the ones that actually have to deal with the decisions that are made.
Yeah.
And you can probably learn the most by having that communication and that discussion.
Somebody mentioned unions. I'm not talking about unionizing. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the functionality between the four elements that are going to make this game better, not grow it. Okay. I'm not saying that. You have to make the element that exists better. And I think that's one of the first steps of getting it done.
Sure. They can even have like just like a secret ballot of like voting, like top 10 questions of something, what bothers them, what they think, they should put input, and just to start the conversation.
Yeah. Mark, would the anglers be able to speak freely? I mean, are they worried about what their peers what side they're on with something that they might bring up that is personal to them, but you know what I mean?
There's one word that is going to be a challenge, and that word is trust. All right? And I'm talking about all parties involved. And I can see it. I saw it when I was there. All four of those entities have to trust each other. And with the division that has taken place, and there's no reason to even get into that, but with the division that has taken place, it doesn't matter. You still have to have that scenario for both organizations to be the best that they can be. And that's what they should strive to do. Now, the biggest factor that you got in that is both organizations are being driven by money.
And
that's it.
The tour is trying to get the same money that the anglers are also going after, and so you're almost fighting against each other right off the bat, right?
But if you have I truly believe.
Yeah, but collectively, if we're all on the same page, how much better can we be?
Exactly.
Boom.
And you have that summit, and you bring everybody in. You bring, if you're an angler and you want to take part of this, boom, you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have this summit, and you spend a week together where nobody is focused on their fishing, nobody is focused on their hunting. They are totally focused on making this organization and this opportunity better.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's an enormous challenge for somebody to sit down. And here is the other parallel that I think people don't understand. To sit down and have to write a check for whatever it is now, $55,000, $58,000.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
To have an opportunity. Do you know how much $55,000 would do if you compound that, just averaging, say, 5% over the next 15 years? You're going to have a huge chunk of money.
Mm-hmm.
And you're never going to make a cast. But you go out there and you try and you try and you invest and you try, and sometimes you just don't you just don't make it. So you've got to create a situation that gives that opportunity for people to at least try, but gives the opportunity, the best opportunity to be successful. And the lack of communication and not all four of those elements being on the same page is what I believe is really not getting over that hurdle to truly make the game better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got to have some regulations in there too. You know, how many units or how many transducers are on the boats, because everybody has regulations. And, just to have, 5 or 6, even 10, that's a lot, kind of much.
Becomes a slippery slope because one of the people at that table is those electronic companies that are like, no, we want
more sales.
We want all that on there because we want more people buying more. And it is a slippery slope because do we go back to 16-foot boats and 90 horsepower motors? And
yeah, the PAA was not a union. All right. Were there dues? Yes. All right. Were there obligations? Yes. But it was not classified and sold as a union. It was what was the term? I remember Mark Davis said it, and I can't remember how he put it. It was a community. I think he said it was a community of one. I think is the term that where everybody, the entire organization was acting as one for the best interest in being a professional angler.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but I still say, man, bring everybody in, put them in the conference room for a week and get it knocked out.
It can't make it worse.
Got to get something positive out of it. A couple of positive things. It's great. They made progress, and then next year they can do it again if they want.
Yeah, you can't have these events, and it has been tried over history to have meetings. You can't do it during ICAST. You can't do it during the Classic. You can't do it during an event. It needs to be the summit.
That's right.
An entire week where things get laid out. The anglers have their say, the sponsors have their say, and the organization has their say.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 100%.
Yeah, I like it. Let's do it.
I'm looking at the comments.
I did see that they said Carl Jacobson picking up trash. He does that maybe multiple times a year, but where he does that was one of the positive things. And it seems like there's a lot of positive things coming out of the MPFL.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they're doing differently over there, but it seems like maybe they are having some of those conversations. And somebody
just won $100,000. I ran across that today. I don't know who it was. I don't remember.
No, but I did a good job. Yeah, MPFL does a really good job, and that's more of a family kind of deal. They're very tight.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Yeah, and they do a really good job of promoting their anglers. They do community service. Every time they go to a town, they promote a lot of the restaurants in the area to give back to the community.
Yeah. That's a good connection, right?
Hey, this is a really good point. I totally forgot about this. One of the most
Oh,
positive
yes.
things is Panger winning St. Jude's, but you know, and I don't know if he wants me to say this or anything, but his involvement in the charity work that Matt has done with St. Jude's is unbelievable. And he actually helped, and I'm not going to say who it is, but there's actually an angler who was experiencing some health challenges with one of their children, and Matt made contact, and everything is being taken care of by St. Jude's. And, you know, that's something Matt didn't have to do that, but that's just kind of how Matt rolls. And
Goosebumps.
what Matt did to help out that angler was extremely impressive. And I know Matt, he catches a lot of stuff because, let's face it, I'll be the first one to tell him in his face that he's not catching them. But at least he's trying, and to balance and do what he is doing, you know, it is an extreme challenge to try and be successful. Believe me, we've had multiple late night conversations about you know, what he's trying to accomplish. But that, once again, that word comes up, and it's choice, and you have a choice. And I think that if people out there did not have a choice, then that's when it even gets a zillion times worse.
Exactly.
He also raised a ton of money too. That's the other thing. So, I mean, I'm not just tooting Matt's horn because he is a dear friend of mine, but quite honestly, that is one of the coolest things that I'm aware of. And once again, I'm irrelevant. Sure. I'm not relevant anymore, but
no, Matt, he does a really good job. You know, he really asks some really good questions to the guests. You know, he's very on point. He keeps the show straight in line. You know, we kind of, you know,
he doesn't really make it controversial either. No. He is stuck to the protocol of being and approaching it as a journalist. And you know, obviously the conversations that have taken place.
Journalists now all have a point that they're trying to get across in something to prove. So but he does a really good job.
I'm proud of him.
Yeah,
I am.
I think a lot of these other shows, a lot of these other podcasts, they go on he said, she said kind of stuff, but Matt doesn't do that. He gets the facts first, sticks to them, and he corrects people that try to throw that in there. He stops them right away. He says, you know, basically, no, we're not going to do that. We stick to the facts here.
Yeah. Well, he did learn one thing from me, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I told him
he stops them right away. He says, you know, basically, no, we're not going to do that. We stick to the facts here.
Yeah. Well, he did learn one thing from me, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I told him, and the other thing is, a lot of people don't realize, man, when we did the show, we showed up, we had no pre-production meeting, we had nothing. Everything was off the cuff, kind of like tonight. I mean, I don't have any notes in front of me. I got nothing. I'm sitting here just talking about a game that I love. And I appreciate you two guys testing this out. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I want to do this. I don't know. I got it set up now. The place is it's looking good and things are working. So we'll see. At least I didn't have my head banging music going that he makes fun of all the time. I don't have that set up yet. So
hey, I'm with you on that. I'm from the 80s as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It was funny. I watched a video of Angus Young AC/DC hit the road, but it's just Brian Johnson and Angus, nobody else from the second tier of the band from the 80s when after Bon Scott died, and then they came with Back in Black in 1980.
Yeah.
But man, they're like 70 years old.
Oh yeah.
And he's still wearing the schoolboy suspenders and shorts.
A lot of the guys from the 80s, they're in their 70s now.
It's crazy. Yeah. Rob Halford. I just saw Rob Halford turn like 71.
Yeah. And just the other day, Steve Harris from Iron Maiden turned 69. Amazing.
Wow. All right. One last question for you, Jim. When you bass fish in Colorado, what's it like? Where do you go? I thought it was just trout fishing.
So I'm originally from the Chicagoland Midwest area, kind of like Illinois and Wisconsin border. And that fishing over there is more like flipping, frogging, you know, kind of stuff like that, heavy line.
Yeah.
Well, I moved out here in Colorado with my wife and kids just to basically retire. And everything out here is all like 4-pound tests, 6-pound tests. I had no clue on how to use it.
What part of Colorado are you at? Where are you?
I'm in Littleton right now.
Okay, I graduated from Highlands Ranch High School.
Oh, okay.
So
yep.
Right down the street from Littleton.
Yep, right there. So, you know, it's a lot of finesse, small baits like Ned rigs, small little minnow stuff. And I didn't catch anything for the first year and a half I was here. I was entering these tournaments here right away, and I was getting smoked. And then I just started figuring it out. And then I was able to progressively get better. And now I'm looking for more things to try to mix the two, the finesse game and the heavy flipping stick bite game. So, you know, I'm progressively getting there. I'm pretty happy at where I'm at. You know, I've gotten seconds, or I've gotten thirds, fifth, and sevenths now.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's, you know, I'm real happy about that.
Cool.
Nice. So where's your favorite place to fish in Texas, Bob?
Sam Rayburn.
Okay.
I can always catch something there, and that's because I was in Louisiana. It was only 2 hours to there.
Yeah.
I'd pass Toledo Bend because I could zero on Toledo Bend.
Yeah.
It went through a bad stretch there, but we're Sam Rayburn. You can always at least catch a spotted bass. You'll pull up on a point and there'll be a bunch of spotted bass. They might only be 10, 12 inches, but you're going to catch them.
Okay, I got to ask. Did you go gator hunting in Louisiana?
No, but we have hooked some on some frogs at night.
I've done that.
Really?
I've done that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've done that too.
That's cool.
But no, I never actually went. No. Shoot them, Elizabeth. Shoot them.
Yeah.
We didn't do that.
Never
I didn't
did
get into that, no.
All right. Have you seen gators at Toledo Bend?
Yes, Toledo
Yeah,
Bend.
they're
on
there.
Sam Rayburn, too.
Are they really?
Yes, big ones on Sam Rayburn I've seen. Probably the biggest one I've ever seen was on Sam Rayburn.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Mhm.
Harold Allen never told me that.
Yep.
And he told me there were gators at Toledo Bend, but
Yeah, just about every body of water in Louisiana has them.
yeah.
But yeah, they're Sam Rayburn and southeast Texas. Those bodies of water down there have a lot of gators and stuff as well.
Really?
So, yeah.
Didn't know Texas had gators.
Yeah, there's I don't know the name of the park. Gator Park, maybe, is. My parents go there, and the ponds are just swimming with gators. They ride their bikes 3 feet from them while they're laying up in the sun on the bank, you know, right along the cart path right there, and they're just riding their bikes by, and they take pictures and send them to me, you know, and they're retired, just traveling around in their RV and going to different parks. But yeah, they're a ton of gators over there.
Okay, here, Bob. Bob, you got to say this, okay?
Yep.
But wait, that's not all.
But wait, That's not all.
There you go, man. You got to start doing voiceovers for infomercials right there.
Let's go.
The amazing Ginsu knife right there, and the bamboo steamer.
That's right. You order this, we'll throw in 14 more knives
and
a samurai sword.
Oh, you got it, man. You got the voice.
You got the voice on already.
Yeah, it is. I'm not kidding. It's way past my bedtime, and you guys have made my evening. I don't know if I need to do this or not. You guys tell me. I'm not going to do it if you're not going to enjoy it, but I like freelancing. I like just talking about whatever. And I greatly appreciate you guys clicking on the link, and everybody else, man. The comments and the instant feedback have been great.
When you asked, should we do this? I mean, the comments lit up and you weren't looking at it, but it was an overwhelming, heck yes, let's do it. Once a month is great. You know, I think that was I mean, it just lit up. So, all
right. Last question I'm going to ask both you two, and I want to see it on the instant feedback. If you listen to what I said earlier, I just want to know, am I right? Do you tend to agree with the assessment that I have gotten over the last couple of days, just kind of perusing stuff? And, you know, we'll see if I do this again. I don't know. Maybe. What do you think? What do you think, Jim?
Once a month?
Once a month? Do you agree with kind of my assessment of everything? Am I kind of?
I think so. Yeah, I think you're right on everything. You know, I don't think you were far-fetched on really anything. I think what you said, and you know how things need to be addressed, and you know how the sport is going. You know, it's sad to see, but I think it's just peaking right now. And once it flattens out, with the live scope and everything, people are going to come around. They're going to be all right, because they're going to use that just as a tool.
Yeah.
People are going to fish like a Lee Levacy. He's going to fish the way he fishes, but he's going to use that thing to his advantage, the same way everybody else does.
Yeah. Yeah. Bob, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I know you want to say that you're not connected, but you're plenty well connected, and you're spot on with and watching these last couple of weeks of podcasts and shows. Everyone, it's like everyone is like beat up, like we're like ready for the season to, like we've been drugged through the mud and we're ready to just hang it up and move on to something else. I mean, it's just like, I'm not connected enough to really have any advice, but I do think what you're saying is sit down, have man-to-man, man-to-woman conversations face to face.
Yeah,
is going to move it in the right direction.
Hey, there's 4 elements to this thing: the organizations, the anglers, the fans, and the sponsors. And if you work toward doing the best for all 4 of those, this sport is going to get better. And that's what needs to happen. But it's a challenge, and it doesn't matter what you do, guys. Anything that is worth getting to the point that you're trying to reach, it's a challenge. And this college bowling thing, it's not easy. It is a challenge. And some of the challenges that I've had recruiting wise and some of the things, you can there's 2 directions. You can either sit back and go, oh, well, yeah, all right, well, can't do anything about that. Or you step up and you take a swing and you try to make it better. And I just hope that the people that are involved with this, and it doesn't matter what organization, I don't care, step up and do everything you can to make things better and just create a positive environment. The only way you're going to do that is communication is the key. And I hope there was some fly on the wall somewhere, or some person says something that these organizations need to have a summit. That's the only way it's going to get better, because you're never going to get on the same page unless the entities come together and you come to an agreement. Doesn't mean you got to agree with that agreement, but at least you have that communication,
Yep.
and you have the influence and the opportunity to make the sport better.
Yep.
All right.
Do the schedules,
All right, guys.
MLF and elites overlap on purpose, or is that just happen that they're fishing some of the same
I think it's
weekends?
both. I think it's both. I think it's, there is, dude, it's like anything else. I mean, they're battling for money. They're battling for sponsorship money. They're battling for fans. They're battling for anglers. And, I know that there are people in that organization that a lot of people dislike. In fact, it's, you hear the hate word quite a bit, despise, whatever it is. And are there some challenges there? Absolutely. But there has been an enormous amount of time and effort and money invested in trying to do things that, quite frankly, I don't think some of the things turned out the way that they thought they were going to turn out. Are there challenges there? Absolutely. Are there things that need to be corrected? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So is it going to play out? I don't know. Who knows? Yeah. Right. Who knows? But for the angler's sake, I hope either organization that they do truly, hopefully come together and get all the issues worked out instead of having that void and that unknown. Yep. All right? Because there are definitely things on both sides of the organization, and I don't even know what they are. I just know for a fact it's this way that has to be overcome. Mm-hmm. And things have to be done to make the sport better and make the organizations better, make the anglers better. I hope that happens. I really do.
Me too.
So
I'm a fan of
they
fishing.
invite you, would you go?
Yeah.
You're the moderator?
Yeah.
I absolutely.
Let's do it.
I think that'd be a good idea.
That it's not going to come from me, but would I do it? Absolutely, because of my love for the game.
Absolutely.
And that was the whole reason that I got into it to begin with. I mean, did I see an opportunity? Yes. Did I do things that made life for me good? Yeah. But I don't think a lot of people realized exactly what I did and what I went through to get to that point. Now, I mean, shoot, my grandkid in my daughter-in-law's belly could have a podcast right now if he wanted one. Anybody can do it.
Yeah.
So, it is driven by what you want to make out of it, right? And how you want to create a situation that's going to make the game better. All right. Do I agree that there has to be a balance there? Because everybody's got to be profitable. You got to make money. Mm-hmm. And
they're there for it.
Everybody's got to realize that, including the anglers. Both organizations have got to make money, but they have to be transparent in what they do. And the only way you become transparent is by coming together and having everybody on the same page and working out through all the issues and dissension and hate and dissatisfied, subject, whatever it is, you got to work it out. You may not agree with it, but you got to try and work it out. So we'll see.
You think that's a 10-year, 10 meetings, one a year to get to that, to where, because the trust between each other, I think, is so far apart right now that it's not going to get done in the first sit.
No, you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. You got to get it started.
And this is something, I saw this back in the 80s with the Professional Bowlers Association. I mean, they had some issues and they went through some enormous challenges. But what took place there is they created a players committee. They had really, really good representation that the players appointed to represent them. And it wasn't just 2 or 3 guys. I mean, there were like 12 guys that represented the tour players, and they got a ton of stuff worked out. But a lot of it was just lack of communication and not understanding why certain things are being done. You know, and some people may stand back and go, hey, look, this is my company. I don't have to tell you squat. Well, quite honestly, yeah, they got a point. But you know what? In order for you to be a better company and improve your profitability, you better take care of your customers. And in this case, the anglers are their customers.
There you go.
100%.
Agree?
Yep. 100%.
So, we'll see. We'll see. But hey, if you guys want me to push the button, you know, just, I don't know. So I still got the same email address. You know, you can post comments anywhere you want. I don't care. I mean, but I just, I enjoy still doing this every now and then. And we'll see if it's something that I'm going to consider. But I am set up in the new digs. I'm excited. I actually do a bowling podcast when,
really?
It's when the season is taking place. It starts in October, and we do it once a week. It's another coach.
When does the season end?
The season ends in March.
Oh,
it's
so
just like basketball.
You might not be able to make the Classic in Fort Worth next year. You'll probably be.
Yeah, we may be in Fort Worth that weekend. A
awesome.
lot of our conference stuff is in Fort Worth. So I haven't looked at what the date, but the schedule for our conference events has not come out yet. Yeah. But it was neat. There was a couple of people that actually came out and watched us. There were a couple of guys that came out to the Fort Worth event, and then there were a guy and his wife came to the event that we had in Kansas City.
Where's the Fort Worth event at?
City View Lanes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to. I'll get on the schedule and check it out.
How many lanes do they have?
Do what?
How many lanes do they have?
City View has 60.
60.
Yeah, that's where we have. They have sectionals at City View also.
Wow.
So
I do have one question about bowling.
Yeah.
You said 36 games in 2 days?
Yeah, sometimes.
I mean, is that like from 8 a.m. till midnight? Like
no,
and nonstop bowling? I mean,
no. I mean, you may bowl 6 a.m, 6 p.m. You know, then 8 the next day, then 12 in the afternoon. I mean, it just depends on what the format is. But I'm feeling it.
You've got to build some stamina to get into that.
I am not at the point physically. I mean, I've lost a little bit of weight, but I'm still challenged with my back. I mean, you should see what my back looks like when I go bowl now. Even when I practice, I mean, it looks like a giant Band-Aid. I've got K-tape and patches, and ibuprofen is my friend, and it's quite the ordeal. But I still love it, and it's a great way to stay connected with the kids, because when they see me have success, there's just a little bit of more trust that I know what the heck I'm talking about. So that's why I ask a lot of questions, and not telling them what to do. I don't ball rap. All right, this is like way, way beyond what I thought. Guys, thank you so much. Thanks for doing that. Everybody else out there that watched this test, I greatly appreciate you listening to me talk and discuss things. And here over the next couple of months, I've got a big month of recruiting in July, but over the next few weeks, I'm going to try and continue to get caught up a little bit. Matt, obviously, he can fill me in a little bit, and talk to a couple of my old friends that are out there on tour and see what their take is. But please continue to tune in to BTL. Matt doing an outstanding job.
Yep.
And continue to push a lot of positive stuff his way, as I know he's got some stuff in the works too that's going to be really cool that he's going to roll out next year. And we'll see if I do this more often, but it's been very cool, and I'm still wired up. I'm not going to be able to go to sleep now. I'm probably going to fall asleep on the couch. So everybody out there, please, feel free to email me anytime, mark@bassone.com. And you guys go catch them. I'm going back to Texoma next week.
Good luck.
All right. You guys take care.
Good luck, bud. Thank you.
All right, that's it. I'm out of here, everybody. Good night.